So, last episode, the Hand of Ages made their way into Dark Orchard on the island of Drakesburg, and after leaving the ship and with Smokey in tow, foul weather still around, they went into what seemed to be basically the only viable place right now. A small tavern named the Cup and Rat. And, right? It's called the Cup and Rat, right? Yes. The Cup and Rat. And they found a friendly enough barkeep, albeit unintelligible, mostly, who offered some kind of stewy, soupy thing, and beer, and not a lot else. But there was a warm fire. And there were also a couple of others in the bar who were keeping warm by the fire and having a drink. A little bit of eavesdropping, that's the word, from Eska allowed a little bit of information to slip through. That it appeared that the two people at the other table also seemed to know that Drakesburg hadn't always been there. Which is odd, because the rest of the world seemed very convinced that it was. And so we pick up with... Oh, there was a little bit of conversation, wasn't there? A little bit of feeling out. And ultimately, everybody agreed to rest overnight by the fire and maybe have a little chat about what everybody knows. That's where we pick up with the human and gnome heading over to get a little closer to the fire for warmth, and inviting the party over to have a chat. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Did you go over there? I mean, you're pretty close to fire anyway, but...
Yeah, I think some of us were settling in.
Yeah, Smokey was as close to the fire as he could get and curling up to fall asleep.
Question for Smokey, for myself and the viewers, listeners.
Uh-huh.
There's been some discussion about Drakesburg.
Yes.
That maybe it hasn't always been there. What does Smokey think of that?
He's not quite sure what's going on, but he's feeling too tired and bedraggled to focus on that right now.
Understood.
So he is confused about what's going on with this group, but he's not feeling very much into conversation tonight because he's still quite bruised and battered and pretty tired.
Gotcha.
If I may ask, because I remember, but I halfway forgot exactly the point in the conversation that we left off. Because I know, like, Eska and Cosette were starting to get more involved in conversation with the two, and I remember, like, Sylvaris was rather pissed.
He was not happy.
No.
Yes.
And I wanted to listen back at least to my recording just to see if I could remember where I was, but I kind of forgot how exactly where we left off.
Well, I know the human, the very final part was the human saying something along the lines of let's sit around the fire and exchange stories. And I think Eska had been pretty outspoken about saying that she knew that they knew
As
something was wrong. Do you remember exactly what your words were?
Eska asked, I think basically it asked if they had been to Drakesburg before or something, or how much they knew about it. And
she was being subtle, right?
I mean, sort of. She kind of said, yeah, it's new to us. It's almost as if it had never been, like it's an entirely new place.
That's right.
And then she winked at them. Because
Yes.
they showed, they seemed to visibly show, like, So she sort of lent into it. So it wasn't said out loud, but it was, it was
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
exactly.
Okay.
There was an acknowledgement, I think, from both sides.
Yeah. So that's where we're at.
But so, okay, yeah, like Eska knows that much, but like everything else was really just thoughts in Eska's head, right? Like, or the gleaning of information and the sharing conversation with Cosette. I
Yeah,
just
you
felt like,
probably
I
don't
didn't
know much
exactly
else.
what was going on.
I think that's
Wait.
actually
Yeah.
what annoyed Silvarius, was when she kind of insinuated that, and I think he got annoyed about that. So
Okay.
I don't think people heard it a whole lot, apart from her sort of give that sort of not that subtle hint, and I think he got angry about her sharing too much, effectively.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my impression.
I was
anyway.
remembering, because I couldn't remember if your conversation was also like while I was getting grilled by Silvarius, and so I didn't even really hear the conversation.
Yeah, I didn't think that too much got openly discussed yet.
So I don't know
No.
if I would know that there's I know that there's there's weirdness in terms of like me seeing this interaction with Cassette and Eska talking to them, but I know that you had said I definitely was too involved talking to Silvarius to know what they were saying. But then
Yep.
I don't know that much conversation, or I can't remember if much conversation had actually happened by the fire, and I knew that unless
No, this was all pre-fire.
yeah, unless like people like really tried to engage Smokey, he was probably gonna fall asleep really quickly because he's in bad shape.
I feel like you'd have found Silvarius's outburst a bit weird as well, because
Okay.
nothing that crazy was said on the surface.
Yeah, like I
Saying that this is that this almost like this place never existed in a jokey way, probably wouldn't.
Not usually grounds for.
Yeah, for the
Such
sort
an
of. I think he
outburst.
kind of stood up and sort of made a big
He did.
scene.
yeah, I feel like I remember, like in terms of what I think Smokey would feel like, is that there's a lot going on with this group that's very interesting, and he's definitely very curious to know, but he's too tired to poke and prod at that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, my notes do say that Claire is asleep in her suit
Yeah.
during this conversation. But she'll probably have been woken up by Silvarius standing up abruptly, because I'm assuming his chair made some kind of noise or jostled the table or something.
And then you were like, "Oh, it's just Silvarius being Silvarius."
And
Go
he
back
probably
to
just goes
sleep.
right back to sleep.
Would be par for the course.
Yeah, my recollection is that once there was kind of like the, oh, wait, you know something's up to? And then we were like, yeah, isn't that weird? And then I think we talked about like they were going to go to the city tomorrow. And we asked him like
Oh, yep.
a little bit about
Yep.
kind of what that process is like or if they'd done it before and they hadn't. And then I think where we left it was like, oh, well, you guys are going there tomorrow? Well, there's no place to stay, so maybe we'll stay here too. And then I think that's kind of where we left it. So
Yeah.
I don't think a whole lot of info was shared. But I think
Not yet,
we kind
no.
of realized that we were having the same, at least initial goal.
And I don't think anybody else knows this, but Eska in her brain got the impression that they were from a very strange place because he thought about that.
Yes. Yeah. You yeah, you got a sort of like almost a vision of the area.
No,
and it was
so-
very other.
To follow up from that, to insert a little thing here, she does, her clan would talk of those who had crossed over to other planes. Do you think there's any chance that what she saw in her head would sort of associate with anything she might have heard tell of before?
Let's find out. Give me history or arcana.
History,
I think
oh
either
dear.
would fit.
Arcana, oh dear. Let's go for history.
Both intelligence.
There we go. That is a 5.
So it's triggering something, but you can't place it.
Okay, but would that be enough, small as it is, to feel like it was not something that that was close to anything that she'd experienced in her, life in this place?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay.
That's not really a roll. That's just a. Has she been something in that sort of situation?
That's
no,
true.
I don't think she
Yeah.
would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we figured out where we were, so they head over near to the fire, and the gnome says, I guess we could do introductions. Might not be a bad thing.
Certainly.
And he sort of looks a little expectant.
My name is Eska.
Sylvaris utters,
We go again.
he crosses his arms and he takes a heavy sit down on the chair, staring at Eska.
Would you like me to introduce you?
Sorry, what?
Wait, was that till?
Who is it?
That was to
was that-
Severius?
Yes, sorry.
He just raises his eyebrow and lowers his head, glaring at you.
I won't say your name if you are not comfortable.
I am just not certain we even need to be having discussion right now.
We are here for information, are we not?
I?
To learn of this place.
And what do they have to offer?
That is what I am trying to find out. Silverius.
Bardor just. Oh, you say his name?
Yeah. Oops.
The gnome chuckles a bit. Bardor just sort of like turns his chair around, so stays sitting in the chair, pulls out his pipe and like forages around, and realizes he's nearly out of pipe weed, but quickly stuffs the pipe and lights it up. Just the regular pipe, not the smoke
Does he
monster
sort of
pipe.
have a panic like Bilbo, looking for the ring? That's what I imagine.
A little bit. He just sort of gruffly says, Bardor.
And seeing Claire semi-conscious, Bissette will say, I apologize for our surly members of the group. That's Claire over there if she's not awake.
There's a vague little hand wave.
And I'm Cosette, and it's very nice to meet you both. Oh, Smokey, sorry.
I imagine Smokey may already be passed out.
Yeah.
The gnome says, well, good to meet you all. My name is Teta, and this is Colas. We are adventurers like yourselves. Then the human, Colas, says, aye. And, well, we decided we'd, much like yourselves, come check this place out after hearing so much about it.
And where did you hail from?
Well, originally from the Sword Coast, but more recently we've been a little further afield.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is quite away from the Sword Coast. Even itself.
Aye, it is. Well, you know, you travel around a bit. I've been all over now. You know, up to Neverwinter, down to Chult, up by the Moonsea. Where there's coin, I've usually found my way there eventually. And they say there's lots of coin here in Drakesburg.
Is that what drew you specifically?
There's a little wry smile. And then Teta says, not exactly, not this time. We were just, curious about it.
Yes, us too. We were over in Delsma and noticed the island. Felt like we had to come and check it out.
There's like a brief pause. And then, Carlos just says, oh, enough of this bollocks. Alright, you don't think it should be here either, right?
Esca's gonna glance at Silverius just to gauge his reaction.
Upon hearing that, he kind of like, his eyes kind of like shock open a little bit. And he pauses and leans forward and takes his arms from his crossed arm position and kind of rests them on his elbows. And just stares at him.
Zed does like a wide-eyed like back and forth. Silverius. The last Silverius. The other group like, what just happened?
Yes, that was our sensation too. One moment there, or one moment not there, and the next it appeared.
That wasn't quite our experience. He looks over at Teta. Right, yes. I am. I'm able to detect the location of planar portals and shift between planes, or just move through small shifts in the weave sometimes. But anyway, we were not here on the prime material plane for a while. We were elsewhere. On the Feywild, actually. I was well, that's not important. Anyway, we were there for, honestly, I don't know how long. But we left Faerun, the prime material plane, for a period of time that to us felt like maybe a couple of weeks. And when we came back, almost everything was the same. Except everybody now knew of this island city. And everybody knew all about it. We discovered that there were ships en route, many ships. There were people who had come from there, people who were going there. It was confusing.
Yes, it's not as if it's sprang out of nowhere and the rest of the world was confused, and it was as if it had always been here.
Aye, that was what we got to.
But we good as saw it appear.
Well, that's different. What do you mean, exactly?
She sort of side-eyes Silverius again. To see how uncomfortable he is. See if he's
Half
about to strangle her.
Can I get a comfort roll? Silverius, please.
What is that,
Restraint. A very
D20
common
plus 13?
Silverius restraint roll.
We were on the coastline outside of Delsma. So when it seemingly appeared, to be honest, there was some kind of phenomenon that took us out of ourselves for a moment, so it is hard to say. That feels like the key. But I do not know. We just do not know what it was. And then it was there.
You see the gnome looking kind of puzzled. I had thought maybe it was something to do with us being on a different plane that had affected, or rather had left us unaffected by this change. You were here when it happened.
I will say I believe we were affected by some type of spell, perhaps.
You're not sure?
I'm pretty sure. But it was far beyond anything that any of us could perform or even understand. And it was quite a jarring and sudden experience, so... Yes,
Right.
that's... We're still piecing it together.
Okay. Well, let's, maybe we need to ponder that some more.
You are the first people we have met who have shared a similar experience.
Well, likewise, actually. Yeah, it seems the rest of the world just knows it exists.
Indeed.
What do you know about Drakesburg so far?
Not much, right? So various cassette. I'm not the best at keeping things in my
Solarius
head.
speaks out in Draconic. Says, he just says it like out loud.
We know as much as we should know about Drakesburg.
And he looks to Teta and Colas to discern whether they show like they understand or maybe not understand Draconic.
I didn't just have to dig something out. There's no... I think they would recognize the language, but they don't seem to understand it. From what you gather.
Do they look offended by the sudden shift in the language?
Teta doesn't. Carlos looks a little disgruntled.
And he continues to speak in Draconic as his face turns directly at Eska.
You seem to make friends everywhere. I believe there is an air of caution we should take. We don't know who they are.
And he looks to them and he continues speaking, but now in common.
But this can continue for now.
And he leans back.
Thank you, Severius.
Well, now that we have permission to continue. What was the question again? What do we know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't remember a ton. What was... Somebody could probably remind me why we didn't want to bring weapons because of laws, or we just didn't want to bring attention. I can't remember.
I feel
Trying
like,
to keep as low profile as we could.
yeah, I think we heard that the guards were, or the policing of the island was fairly strong.
Okay, it wasn't like absolutely like illegal to have weapons that we know of. We just didn't. Why risk it?
It would just bring more attention to us.
Yeah. Okay.
The way our party kind of was like assembled and like geared out and
you were told that going through Drakesport or there's a smaller port on the like a smaller harbor area, but both of those are like everyone registers when they arrive,
Yeah.
which is why you've taken the route through Dark Orchard to keep a lower profile. That kind of keeps you. Means you can just go through the gate rather than having to register at the port.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, she'll share that. She'll just say, like, you know, we may not look at, or maybe we do and we don't realize it, but, you know, we've done some adventuring too, and we have heard, you know, look at them and kind of looking at, like, their adventuring gear, which I'm assuming they're wearing.
Yeah, they're like fully decked out.
Yeah, and just kind of say, like, we were warned that, you know, that might make it a little bit more difficult to either get in or, you know, if nothing else, just bring more attention to be obviously adventurers or capable, I guess. So, but this is our first time here too, so.
Do you? I'm trying to remember what, if anything, was said about the guards in the city. I feel like there was some other stuff shared, but I don't remember it all.
Do you remember what episode we talked about it?
It was a while ago.
I feel like it was mentioned that
Because guessing.
sort of being too magical in public might be sort of
Yeah.
you know, dinged as a suspicious.
Yeah, we were told not to really do magic here in the open, right?
Yes. Okay.
And,
Yep.
and also, I think part of keeping a low profile is just that they do take note of everybody who comes in and out, and we felt like we can't trust anybody right now, so we were sort of trying to find a back way in because we know that they keep a close eye out when you come in through other ways, and we don't really necessarily want to announce ourselves as being here. I think was our sort of thought process.
Right. Gotcha. How much of that do you share?
I think probably would share that we're trying to keep a low profile because we do not know the area well yet. So we want to... This is more of a get to know it without announcing ourselves trip. I wouldn't necessarily say that we are particularly worried beyond that. But I would, yeah, I think probably share that at least. Because if we are going to walk in with them, it's good that they know that.
Sounds like you know more about it than we do.
Yes, the Drakeswardens do not have the best reputation in Delzimer, so we are trying not to give them any reason to bother us.
Okay. What are they? I mean, is that just the regular guards?
I believe they are the guards that guard the island too, but they have a presence on the mainland now. Also,
Interesting.
we've
wouldn't it?
generally try to avoid them in both places.
Okay. Good to know. So, what are your plans tomorrow then?
I think we were going to wander into the city, get the lay of the land, maybe see what is available in to purchase. Nothing too much more extravagant.
It's hard to remember. It feels like it's been a while since we made these plans. Like,
Oh, yes.
the whole season has gone past since we made these plans.
That boat ride was really bad.
Not just the whole season, almost like a year maybe has almost gone by.
You think you're so funny.
Our characters are actually in the Feywild. Time is just.
It's supposed to be a 3-hour tour.
Well, we got our money's worth. The admission cost, I mean, we scored.
Did you have plans outside of that, or are you just checking it out tomorrow?
Yeah, no, we figured we'd take a wander around, see what's what.
This may just be the content I've been watching so much recently, but that did sound like a pickup line from Eska.
Eska's always using pickup lines.
Like, do you have plans after or free?
I don't ever imagine Eska with the Valley Girl tone.
Bust out just like, oh my god, you must know a really good tree.
Let me correct that. I didn't ever imagine. That's all I'm going to be able to think about.
Her head just tilts to the side, gets sparkles in her eyes, a vacant stare, voice changes.
Oh boy.
She has the magic to do that, for sure. On a related note, what do you think is beneath the island? And I'm just reminding you, in case you forget, Phil, that you mentioned that they had an interest. There was, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you said they were concerned about what was underneath, or one of them even maybe mentioned it in their conversation. It's like it's what's underneath the island that worries me, or something like that.
Yeah, Tedda had said something to that effect. He kind of eyes you a little suspiciously. Let's see how suspiciously.
Eska's just getting all the suspicious looks.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. Why is there so many P things? 10. Oh, I've lost it.
There's a look, and he says, why would you think we'd know anything about what's under the city?
Okay, I may have been listening in a little bit earlier. You got to keep your ear to the ground when you're in a new dangerous place.
He kind of looks to Colas, and Colas gives a sort of resigned nod. There seems to be one or more portal under the city. I think I'd need to get closer to be sure.
You can feel them?
Yes. That's part of my training and there's some innate aspects to it, but yes, if there's one close by, I can usually find it, or at least I can know where it is. Finding it is not the same thing. Some portals are very well hidden, and some are hidden in plain sight. It varies.
I don't think I ever had caught where you were from.
Also, originally, from the Sword Coast. A little bit more complicated than Coalesce. I ended up living with wood elves for quite a while, and they taught me a lot of my tracking and work with herbs and that sort of thing. But they don't get out a lot, it turns out. They just like being in the trees. And eventually I decided I need to see a little bit more. And eventually crossed paths with Coalesce, and we just started traveling together. After a few close scrapes, we realized that we worked quite well together as a team.
We're still deciding if we worked well together as a team, but it's going okay so far.
We had some close moments, and we had a few different people who sort of traveled with us for a while and came in and out of our little group. It's not easy figuring out the right group of people. There's personalities and talents. It's very difficult. But I mean, you're all here and you're not stabbing each other currently, so that seems good.
That's what we mostly aim for.
Right, well, I'm tired. Reckon I'm gonna sleep. He kind of like eyeballs everyone. He's like, I don't see a lot of weapons on you, but do me a favor, don't try and stab me in the night. I'll definitely stab you harder.
We will extend our group policy to you.
Oh, what's that?
No,
Don't stab.
don't stab each other.
Solid. Hopefully the barkeep's got something different for breakfast. Because that was shocking.
If not, just ask Claire. She can make it taste like whatever you like.
Alright. Smash it.
Very very handy in places like this.
Wish we learned how to do that. Oh well. And he sort of settles into his bedroll. And Teta does similarly.
Well, I'm going to bed too then.
Anyone planning on keeping watches?
Silveri, should we keep watch?
He responds, but he's speaking just low and in Draconic.
There most certainly should be a watch, but first, a minor conversation with you and I must be conducted.
Oh dear.
I understand your capabilities, and you are often sneaky behind my back. Now, you were correct in asserting or opening conversation with them, but remember to be cautious. What if they were bait? Some form of tool from the other that we have encountered from the depths below. There are connections to that which we are looking. I only ask you be cautious. Because I have seen you be reckless before. And I'm certain I shall again.
You know, Silverius. She'll reply in Draconic.
Are you just doing this like around the fire still?
I presume so, unless he's
That's why
shuffled
he's
me
in
off.
Draconic, unless there's anyone else around, but
You know, you probably are not wrong. My nature is to be trusting and open, and whilst recent times have led me to push away from that, the security of the group has begun to bring it back a little, and I guess I am still finding my balance. I miss being open. I miss trusting. And I have been beginning to have that with the group of you. And perhaps it has led me to become a little more like my old self, but your caution is not unwarranted. I will try to keep that in mind. A little better.
and he gives a respectful nod.
Then as far as watches go, I'm not certain he will be of any use.
And he gestures to Smokey.
No. He probably needs his full sleep.
Is Claire still, like, drifty drowsing off?
Oh yeah, she's been snoring the entire time.
He's got a short rest already.
Right?
If you and maybe Cosette seemed pretty alert this evening. If maybe the two of you can cover 2 shifts, I can cover the rest of the night. And then the
Sounds
others,
fine.
the others maybe need their rest.
Alrighty. So,
I think you'd have to tell her because I don't think she would
no.
understand that, but she's up for it too.
As far as you're aware, no one else understood any of the conversations that just took place there.
Cassette just hears her name and so speaking in Draconic and
she's thinking, I'm glad Eska's in trouble and not me, and then she hears her name. She's like, oh shit.
I mean, you know,
She just wakes up. It wasn't me!
I assume she would not be surprised if one of them poked her in the night and just said, "Your time for a watch." I assume she is accustomed enough to such ritual that she would not find that surprising.
Yeah.
So the night actually passes uneventfully. You wake up probably not very comfortably, sleeping on the floor. Yeah. It's not necessarily a great way to start the day, but here we are.
Eska probably sat as close to the front door as possible to try and get some sort of draft.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly there would be a draft coming through. It's not great craftsmanship on that particular door.
Yeah, and it was pretty stormy, so I imagine there was some good noise from outside.
Yeah, it dies down overnight, and
Oh, speaking of which, Eska will, just before everybody kind of gets moving, cast Druidcraft, do the weather report.
it is gray and cold.
This morning's weather forecast brought to you by ESKA 77.
But it's yeah, it's not raining. Be grateful for the gentle wind though, because it would be very cold otherwise. It is the last day of Marpneth. We're about to get into Uktar.
Uktar Eve. Oh, we forgot to celebrate.
Uktar Eve.
Oh no.
No, we're heading into Uktar Eve.
Yes, it's Uktar Eve today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we haven't even had a chance.
That's good because I've got to buy everybody presents. It's going to
First
be
question
crazy.
we ask is, does Drakesburg do gift wrapping?
Shopping in Drakesburg is going to be a nightmare. Uxburg Eve is the worst shopping day of the year.
So we won't even actually get to the shopping this episode. It's just going to be trying to make it through the crowd.
Yeah.
And really, we should be waiting till the after Uxburg discounts.
That's true, yeah.
Like, when you gotta move that product.
Uxburg sales.
It's not even a holiday. It's not a holiday for like another
That doesn't stop them from
month.
creating a sales frenzy.
Yeah.
You know how merchants are. Any excuse to try and sell stuff.
Wait, it's also so the end of the month. That means everyone's getting their paychecks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's why they put this holiday, the Uxburg Eve. And everyone's asking, like, what's this for? I don't know, but it's a real special day. 50% off everything.
So, you wake up.
we all wake up and Bader is wearing his Uxburg Eve hat, as he does every year.
With a frown.
Yeah.
You wake up and he is not doing that. What you do see is him going to fill his pipe and then remembering that he's out of weed.
Does
Run
James
out of
know
his
that you
pipe weed.
smoked all of his pipe weed?
James does know
Okay.
that he smoked all of his pipe weed because he meticulously tracks. Every time he
Grams
says, Bardor smokes, he crosses some more off.
That was his only instruction for tonight.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't care what happens with the rift, with this new amazing island, but if I smoke any more tobacco, that needs to be addressed.
I'm just looking forward to nicotine withdrawal, Barter. That's a
Oh,
pleasant
dear.
traveler.
So you wake up, and unfortunately, it seems pretty clear that the available food and beverage is the exact same thing that was available the night before. Except now it's, about 8 hours staler.
They just continuously recycle whatever's in the pot.
Just yeah, it's perma stew.
Well, Smokey would awake and do all the appropriate cat stretches.
Mm.
And then
Does he do them on
would-
all fours?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Before then standing up on two legs. And then he would look much more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I'll just start with that and see what everybody else is doing.
Was their food just brought out, or will we have to order some?
You could certainly order some. He's not going to assume you're going to eat his food. He probably hopes so he can get a little bit more coin. Hey, you got free board.
No, we did, I
Kind of.
guess. Yeah.
I would assume that Claire is in a slightly better mood this morning. She will prestidigitate anyone's food that feels like it, and I will take the time while she is doing that to glance at my spell list. Because the downside of the cleric, gotta make sure I have the spells that I want to make sure I have today. Real
So
quick.
pick all your
Ooh.
combat spells for today's town day.
Well, we got
Hey.
slots back and stuff.
You never know.
Yeah.
I want to double check because it has literally been a year since I looked at my spell list.
Mm-hmm.
Almost. So I want to just double check real quick.
Yeah, I perused
feels
mine.
It's been a year since I had all my spells. Ah, that feels good.
I don't think anyone had any exhaustion, did they? I think we were
I think
exhaustion
Silverius
free.
is still working off that exhaustion from the
Oh man, that was from the
That did take a
trials.
while.
from the trials. Yeah.
That was there forever. Do we
Yeah, it
have
was
an
painful.
exhaustion track?
I thought they'd put that on there, but I didn't see it.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to make a
probably.
Yeah,
little
it is. There's
subcategory.
exhaustion level
Oh,
right
yeah.
under.
There it is.
Under hit
Okay.
dice.
Yeah.
And it gives you the description of what it is. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, it's not nice, but you know, nice.
Oops. Hey. Hey, stop that. I am dead, y'all.
No, you're on 5.
Five. Okay, I'm borderline dead.
Yeah, 6 is dead.
That happened after I ate the soup, by the way.
Claire says she can make it taste good, just know that it won't have any other effect.
It's not going to make it nutritious. All right, so you kind of muddle through breakfast.
Are our
Smokey would
companions
have.
still there?
Smokey would have said to the table, and he would have just said, "Apologies for last night. I was very tired." And then he would have been very grateful that his food was looking and smelling good, because otherwise he wasn't going to touch it.
No need to apologize. It was a rough crossing.
See?
And you see Eska, no, not Eska, Teta and Carlos packing up their stuff and getting ready to head out.
What does the bartender sound like when he comes over and brings us food again? Just if I say thanks, say, what's in this?
I probably better don't know, to be honest with you. La bit is bad and meant to give, but for the with the and right, and I mean we get what we get, and it's yep.
He just gives him a big thumbs up.
My favorite.
You're welcome to make a... Well, if anyone has cook's tools, you could make a check with a proficiency bonus. Well, if you have cook's tools and proficiency with cook's tools. Failing that, it would just be just straight intelligence roll to try and figure out what's in the meal. Of course, it's only if you want to know what's in it.
Yeah,
Eska doesn't want to know.
She doesn't want to know. She knew she wouldn't get an actual answer. I just wanted to hear him talk again.
I know how you work. I knew what you were up to.
I feel like we need to have the cleric
Mission
cast
accomplished.
purify food and water on our meal. just in case.
I don't have that prepped. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
So
Since
sorry.
since Claire was prestidigitating food, Savaris would accept her offer, and dig in finally because he was hungry from not eating very much last night.
Tastes a lot better this morning.
Do our new companions come over for prestidigitation?
Colas does. Tedder does not.
And I guess we should probably say to keep it low key.
Yeah, do they look like they're still in full outgoing gear, or have they sort of taken our words to heart at all?
Yeah, I mean, they like, you can see that they both still have a bow strapped to their back. It looks like the two shiny hilts. I think someone saw two shiny hilts at Colas' side. Those seem to have disappeared. But they both still got their bows.
Does Bardura have his bow?
I don't think he does. I think he has some sort of weapon tucked away, though. Hold on. I think he may have labeled what he had equipped.
Did he have his
His Falcata, maybe?
Yeah.
Or... Oh, no, he had it. Didn't he have a dagger? He had a nice dagger, I think, too. Let's see what he's equipped.
I feel like I remember him saying, "I'm bringing it. I don't care."
Yeah, he's got
About
his
something.
dagger. He's... Oh, maybe he didn't label it as well as I thought, because according to this, it would still be his bow and his Falcata,
Just
2
everything.
hand axes. I don't think he brought everything. He brought some, for sure. But I don't think he brought his bow. So, we all heading in together, or is that weird? Maybe you do your thing, we'll do our thing. Reconvene. Compare notes.
That may not be a bad idea. That way, if either of us gets unwanted attention, we do not bring it upon the other.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
You plan to stay here tonight again?
That's a bit of crap. Might find someone with a bed.
Okay.
Um,
You see where I'm going with this, right?
right, obviously we'd need to know where we were going to be.
Yes.
We
We could meet somewhere like at a landmark at lunchtime or something. There's a river that flows in, correct?
apparently.
Maybe we could hey, innkeeper,
Ah,
are there any nice landmarks in the city? In the middle of the city? Anything prominent?
Depend what you mean by nice, I suppose. I mean, you could have the castle and the lord, and you got the green and the green and yeah. What are you looking for?
A town square with a statue or something?
Just go great green, I reckon.
Right, we will meet at what he said. Anybody got any idea what it was?
Something green.
Great green?
Great green?
Yep.
Is that near the river? Okay, it's a plan.
I'm telling you though, it still just sounds like Eska's planning a date.
Should we bring a
'Cause it almost
picnic?
yeah, I was about to literally say it sounded like she was planning a picnic by the river earlier before she started asking for landmarks. She's just asking this guy on a date with the rest of us along, but that's not really important apparently.
Also, I'm asking both of them, so I haven't
Yeah,
picked yet.
I mean, yeah.
we could meet at the Great Green and perhaps find an inn
That works.
or a tavern, whichever. Perfect.
Well,
Is
we'll see you
that
later then.
acceptable to everybody? Silverius?
What is happening? Where are we going?
We just have a wander around town and see the sights.
And Teta and Carlos have already left at this point.
Does
They
that,
decided that was the plan, and they're gone.
is there anything you want to do, Smokey?
There is something more to this. What am I missing?
Eska looks pointedly at Silverius after their conversation last night.
I just. Nothing that you need to be concerned with.
But I have been charged with following you around town, and I want to know what is happening. I don't want to get in trouble.
If you follow us, you should be fine.
Do I believe him?
Oh, let's make an insight roll.
Insight. Plus 3. 21.
Pretty high.
I mean, from what he said, he doesn't seem like he's telling. He believes that what he said in that moment, yeah, that if Smokey just follows, he'll be fine. He would probably say afterwards, just something about staying out of trouble and keeping your mouth shut.
It's pretty easy to keep my mouth shut about something I don't know about.
If you don't know about it, then stop asking.
He does his little frowny face with his ears flattened again.
Look what you did.
And he just kind of turns to the rest of the group.
Are we to spend just the day here? Or are we looking to stay longer? I seem to remember mention of the boat returning this evening.
Oh, maybe it is just as well that we are meeting them at lunch then. Maybe it depends on what happens.
And Sylvaris keeps on looking at Smokey, just every now and then his eyes kind of like peek over there, and he looks back and...
So, then shopping is on our primary to-do.
You guys are so weird.
That's an understandable perspective.
Esco will pull her hood up and get ready to leave.
Okay. As you head out the door, you can actually see. Where last time you came through here, it was dark, poorly lit, and raining. You come out this morning, it's, as previously mentioned, grey, chilly, but you can actually see it a little bit better. There is a little bit of activity moving around. There's a small flow of people kind of, you're getting up and heading out about the same time as other people heading towards the city. So there's a few people kind of heading that way. You do see there is, like where the path up from the small docks is leading up towards the river, where you can kind of see where the road heads towards the city. And you can see that there's someone who is like a small cart essentially that's set up there. Looks to maybe be selling some bits and bobs. And then there's a few other people milling about. You see a lot of people here. Well, yeah, at least half the people that you're seeing are halflings, you would say. But then there's also humans. Mostly. Or, yeah, just about mostly halfling.
Are there other races like, is there the odd elves and dwarfs and such things as well?
Yeah, just infrequently.
Okay.
There's not a huge amount of people around, but yes, you would see, them, like, the occasional elf or dwarf going about their business.
I don't know if we're up to the gate yet. Did you say we went through the gate? We're just kind of still on the outskirts.
No. So far you are standing just outside the Cup and Rat.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so, yeah, the road ahead, you would have to go up and actually cross over the river. Just before you cross over the river, there's the little trading cart. And assuming you start heading that way, you would also see there's a female halfling who appears to be struggling a little bit to carry an easel under her arm. She's short even by halfling standards, and has her hair sort of in a messy braid, and has this big easel trying to like carry it under her left arm, and looked a little helpless, to be honest. And then you can see the halfling at the cart. Older halfling. And there's some other halflings sort of like milling around this general area next to the river.
how, just looking at Silverius, how much does he stand out?
Yep, quite a lot.
Yep.
Yep.
Did,
I
Also-
mean, he's, you know,
did the thing you purchased have a hood or anything like that at least?
I think it had a hood.
Yeah.
He would
I
have
believe
it
so.
up.
Okay.
Also, how far away is the halfling with the easel?
I mean, I would imagine if you're sort of heading towards the city, you're kind of closing the gap. So, you know, probably about 30 feet at this point.
Yeah, so of course, sensing a person in need, Claire would scuttle ahead of the group and just generally, just offer assistance because that's just what she do.
And she looks over. And, oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Would you like
Uh,
Would you like me to carry it for you?
Would you? That would be great. I'm actually looking to head into the city. I'm trying to find a new patron. That's you know how it is. Someone over there is going to have money.
Oh, well, that's no problem. My group and I were heading into the city too. So, if you don't mind me, touching your stuff. I know artists can be a bit picky sometimes, but if you don't mind me touching your stuff, I'd be happy to carry it in for you.
She kind of gives you a warm smile and some acceptance. And don't worry, the stuff you can't touch is in here, and under her right arm she's got like a little oak chest. All my paints and brushes and stuff are in here. The easel, just don't throw it around, and I think it'll be fine. And you can see, I mean, it is like a collapsible one. So it's not even as big as it could be, but it's still awkward. Like it's made of brass. Like the legs have a way of sort of folding in, but it's still, it's not light, and it's still clumsy, even though it's designed to be theoretically convenient. She says, I'm 90, by the way.
And Claire just kind of like smiles and does like a bobs her head kind of thing. And I'm Claire, and gathers up all the easel and everything. And she does kind of like wave back to the group, however far behind they are now.
Eska
Someone's
just
probably caught up by now.
Eska briefly turns to Silverius and Barder and says, "See, it's not just me."
Yes, the problem is widespread.
Tavares is just kind of learning that this might just be what he's gonna have to be okay with.
Sometimes it's just nice to be nice. Silvar.
But we aren't here to be nice.
Claire has a specific calling, though.
I know.
It is specifically to be nice to people.
I
who
mean, in
need help.
fairness, Silverius has a very strong calling as well, not to be nice.
To
To
be
people.
nice.
He's mission oriented, okay?
He has to be directed by his higher ups to be nice to people.
Yes.
That wasn't
first.
part of his, his mission wasn't be nice.
Yeah.
It was a prove yourself mission.
Alrighty, so you've collected one waif and stray.
Are there any more helpless people around?
Loads, yeah.
We gather them up into a large crowd.
If we gather enough of them around us, no one else will notice us.
Yes, yeah, it'd be like Assassin's Creed. We'll just like move with this wave of people.
Cover Silvarius with orphan children. Put them
Yeah.
on his shoulders and just...
we call this orphan flage.
Bardor actually heads over to the trader's cart, and sort of takes a look to see what he can see, looking for Well, anything really, but ideally, pipeweed.
Mhm.
Because he's already looking. Clearly, he's got his pipe in his mouth, but it's not lit. It's empty. And so he
Prepared an action light pipe.
yes. Once the components are ready. So he's having a look over there. Anyone going to join him?
I mean,
Sylvarius is not.
from a distance, what does it look like?
It's just like a little cart with a bunch of stuff set up on the back of it, basically.
That's very non-specific. I guess Esker will wander over and just glance over his shoulder, out of
Okay.
curiosity.
You see, it's very much like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's like just a sort of collection of odds and ends. For context, what that would mean is basically anything in the PHB, any sort of non-weapon, non-armor type thing in the PHB that is 15 gold or less is available, should you wish to find it. Also, anyone who goes over and looks, please roll for me a percentile die.
Ooh.
Doesn't get used often.
Oops. I rolled an 18.
Only to me.
Yep.
Okay. As you look, you also see there's like a walking stick. Although actually looking at it, you think maybe that's too mundane a phrase. Maybe cane would be better. Looks to be made of some sort of white material. And at the top of it, there is an amber bead that seems to be like the grip for the hand. So a large amber bead, like what would that be? 2 or 3 inches across. And you kind of eye it a little closer. It looks like there's some sort of creature trapped inside the amber.
Like a mosquito.
It piques her curiosity, but she's not. She yeah. She tries to think who would that be useful for that she knows as well, and she can't think of anybody, so she admires it and keeps an eye on Badur doing his thing.
Badur makes inquiries about pipeweed and is able to secure a very small amount. It'll not even cover a week. So he takes what he can get, immediately fills his pipe and lights it.
I guess whilst he's doing that, Esker might wander back over to the others and say, they sell quite a lot over there of your basic, if you need anything basic, or odds and ends.
I don't even remember. You said it was 15 and below in the player's handbook?
Yeah, which is actually, it does cover a lot.
I don't know where I left that. You don't have a hot list, do you?
No, not necessarily. But, if you think of something, well, let me see if I can.
Oh, do we need to look for a commemorative Drakesburg
For
tankard for Ader
Cater, yeah. He can start a little row in the
to
shop.
add to his collection since we don't bring him anywhere with us?
I mean, I feel like you should.
My sheet says I have 2 healing potions, but I don't know how big they are.
How big they are?
Yeah.
Probably about 2 or 3 inches.
Like what's their... Are they
I never
minor?
actually like.
They're probably
Is
minor.
it a small, a regular, large, like 16 ounce, 20 ounce, 24 ounce?
I would assume they're just standard.
Venti?
Are the lids biodegradable? Like,
So that would be tall.
I
tall-
posted
A
I posted the
tall
general
healing
items
potion.
in the Discord.
Yeah.
In a
Oh.
very not efficient way. Sorry.
Me too. Mine's more efficient.
oh wow.
So is anyone else interested in going over there? Just so I know.
No.
All right.
I'm just having a quick
Like-
look to see if I want any of these things.
Yeah, looking through the list is like going through my memory.
Cassette will go over, but I mean, not anything in particular. She just, there's a chance to window shop. She will.
Bador notices an interesting looking harp. Not a big harp, a little harp. Possibly a lyre, depending on definitions. I don't know. There's one of those there too. Looks to be wooden make. Nice looking strings. Cassette, please roll for me a percentile sword.
53.
Okay, you also see there a tiny carved figurine of a person. Appears to be female. You can make a religion check if you want.
Uh, 15 on the die, 20 total.
You would you would recognize that person on account of that's a really good roll.
They would be.
Oh, you want to know? Well, that's weird.
You gotta
I
make
know
another
this,
roll
this
to find
little
out.
action figure. I swear this looks like somebody I know.
It is Yondala. To write this for you. She is the halfling goddess of fertility.
It's like I'm just picturing like action figure size, like an
no,
idol
small-
size or
Yeah, smaller. I would say say what would it be like about 3 inches tall. Not sure what it's made out of exactly. Seems to sort of glisten a little bit, maybe. Unusual material.
Okay, question. Is she like she just sees all this stuff and that's something that's like unique? Like she's used to seeing all these kind of standard things and she just kind of
Yeah.
happens to see that.
Correct.
It's not like got a spotlight on it on a pedestal, like
No.
with an exclamation point above it or something.
Now, whether it should be on a pedestal with a spotlight and an exclamation point is a different question.
How much is it?
You ask the what you call it, the trader.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like I said, older halfling, hazel eyes, wearing fairly simple clothes, and she looks and she says, "Well, that depends. You see, I could sell it to you for 25 gold, or I'll give it to you for free if you can help the voices in my head. Make those go away. I'll happily give it to you for free. Can you do that for me? Can you?"
Well, and she kind of like looks back to find where her friends are.
It's not a big ask. I don't think. It's just an ask.
I don't know that I can help you with that.
Oh. What about your friend? And Bador just, like, shifts away. Like, nope.
She's like, well, I don't know anybody who could help you, but we just got here, and you know, we're gonna look around today. If I find anybody that may be able to help you, I'll be sure to let you know.
See that you do. We know your face. If I see you walk past and you haven't found someone for me, then I'll be sad. I'll be very sad.
What does this person look like?
She's old. Old halfling lady. Messy, sort of silvery hair. And she's just looking very intently at you from the other side of the cart.
She'll do, well, okay, question. If I was to use Divine Sense, is that something that has we think it has some sort of, like, visible something. I don't think it's something that, like, you have to, like, has a verbal component, but would it be something that, like, if you're staring somebody in the face, would they know that you're doing that, or is it just kind of like a sixth sense kind of thing?
I would say it's there's no outward.
It doesn't say there is, and even if there is, maybe she like kind of avoids eye contact, and as she's kind of turning around and saying, "Oh, good day, I'll see if I can help you," she kind of casts Divine Sense, and the range is 60 feet.
Okay, and you would know the location of any celestial fiend or undead not behind total cover.
Correct.
This is the scariest moment when Cosette feels nothing but demons everywhere around her.
Yeah. You get 180 pings. And 60.
No, you get nothing register.
Okay.
Make a perception check for me too.
Just regular crazy. Perfect.
Could be magical crazy though. Still, like spell crazy.
6.
Okay.
Takes a lot of things at face value. She's not incredibly perceptive. So do kind of like a hurried step back to the group. I will tell Claire, though. I don't know if that's something that she would be able to help with, but she would at least mention it, like, hey, there's somebody a little crazy over there, but, I mean, said she hears voices, and I could help her out with that. I certainly can't, but is that even something that you might be able to do, or maybe it's best we just get some distance between.
We just run. We just run as far as we can right now. Now, how far back is she now?
I think I wouldn't tell you that until either like I met up with a group and we walked a little ways. Like we would be still where maybe you could see her, but a little ways off.
Okay.
While you're looking that up, I would say, Cosette, while you were there too, it's not like you were the only person who was looking over what was at the cart too. There were a couple of the locals there too, taking a look, just trying to see if there was anything that looked interesting. One guy, human, looked to be in kind of a shabby chain shirt with a big morning star at his side. Looked like some sort of local militia guard type. And then there was also a younger halfling, and they had like a very sort of shabby look, muted clothing, and a don't know if it was just a walking stick or just a stick because it looked cool. Some sort of stick in one hand. And so while you were sort of backing away from the trader there, you kind of bump into them a little bit as you head off to meet up with your colleagues.
Was she talking to anybody else in a similar way, like, or did she specifically point me out? Like, if I was kind of moved on and heard her interacting with anybody else, is she like kind of treating everybody the same way?
It didn't seem like she really pestered Bardora that much about anything, but
Lucky me.
you do hear the human, like, you don't know what he's buying, but he like makes an inquiry about something, and then you hear a somewhat similar spiel.
Okay.
Well, I could check and see if there's any magic on her. That's about all I have, but I've got to be just a little bit closer to her.
Yeah. Now that we're further away, maybe it's for the best. Maybe we check in with her on the way back, if we have time.
And Claire, you can see, like, Claire nods, but her little, like, concerned, like, angel on her shoulder, like, keeps looking over her shoulder back at the crazy old lady. She wants to go back and help. So she's made it a mental note. So she's going to at least try to remember to see if she's, like, got any magic on her on their way out. Hopefully, if they see her again.
She's
We're
gonna
gonna
have
be here a
list.
long time, Phil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us for season 1, the mission trip season to the shantytown.
Join us in season 5 when we finally leave Drakesburg and meet up with the old crazy lady again.
So, While everyone was kind of going back and forth doing that, Savaris was really just kind of watching the flow of the crowd through the gates from what he can see, trying to get a figure on like just the atmosphere with like any checkpoints and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're not up to the gate itself.
Okay.
But I mean, as you're moving along, there is some kind of flow back and forth on the road along the river here. But you also get the feeling that the people who are outside of the walls like to be outside of the walls.
Mm-hmm.
They're there because you're not, the little you've heard of Drakesburg makes it sound like it's a bit controlling, and there's not the same kind of oversight beyond the walls. So, yeah, there is some back and forth, but it seems like most people who are outside are staying outside during the day. So, Hand of Aegis plus Smokey are heading towards the gate that is the entrance of Drakesburg. So to give it a little setup here, as you walk along the river, you can see these towering stone walls that sort of loom over everything on the outside of the city. You can see off to the right the coastline coming around, and you can see where the walls end towards the coast. Beyond the walls, even though they are tall, you can see a couple of things beyond. There are some taller buildings. One looks to be distinctly crenellated and fortified. You would guess this is the castle that was possibly alluded to by the barkeep. And then there's something peculiar beyond that. You can't tell if it's from where you're at as you approach. It's a little confusing, but it looks like there is some sort of building, like a large, maybe like a stately home or something like that, but it appears to be currently hovering over the city. That's as best as you can tell from where you're at. The gate itself is it's a big sort of double reinforced, like iron reinforced wooden doors, and you see, as you walk towards it, you see there are like two guards on either side of the path, and next to one of the pairs of guards, you see a large quadrupedal creature. It is pretty substantial. You would guess like, gosh, how long is this thing? I'm double checking. probably about 8 feet long, something like that. Very squat, like low to the ground. It's sort of like a dull greeny gray. And there appears to be some sort of large protrusion from its back, like it has like a big hump on its back or something like that, like that goes all the way down, from like just behind the neck down to its where the base of the tail would be, and it's just looking around. Every now and then you see a large purple forked tongue stick out and sort of like taste the air, just looking around lazily. It's standing next to two of the guards that would be on the right side of the path as you approach.
Is it something that we may have seen before?
No.
No. And okay.
Categorically, none of you would have seen this before.
I would... Sure, it sounds like one of Silvarius's relatives.
I mean, insofar as it is reptilian, yes. That is about where the similarities end, though.
Is this one of the sights you wanted to see?
It certainly is peculiar and kind of a mystery. Have you seen this before, Bardo?
He shakes his head and kind of scratches his chin a little. Like, nope, it's new. And then he pulls out the pipe of smoke monsters and blows a little puff of smoke that looks exactly like the creature.
Eska waves through it to make it disappear.
That was fun. Can you do it again?
Low profile, Bardo. Low profile.
Smokey looks
He
sad.
changes pipes. It occurs to me that you're traveling with Niney. And so she says to you, that's one of the weave worms.
That thing is
you know
a
all about the
worm?
weave worms. No. It's WYRM.
Oh.
Worm. Like a dragon. That sort of thing. They patrol the city with the guards.
Are they native to the island?
I don't know. I just know they're in the city. I haven't explored the wilds beyond. So, I suppose in theory they could be. I keep to civilization. The trees aren't going to pay for art, unfortunately.
And in keeping to civilization, would that strictly be here?
On the island. Well, you've got the, obviously, Dark Orchard where we came from. And there's some more settlements beyond that, West Meanderings. And there's a few areas, sort of outside the walls. Mostly on the south side of the city. Little bits and pieces. But most of people are found in or close to the city. I'm sure there's some folk who live off the land out beyond the walls. But mostly people are either in or close to the walls, yes.
Are we in? We're outside the walls, right?
You're approaching the gate
Okay,
there.
so make sure. And there's no other like section of walls. It's like it just thins out as it goes further away from it. That we can see.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at the map, you can kind of see where
Oh, I haven't checked back. Yeah.
So you're coming along here towards here.
Okay.
So you can see, you kind of move away from the river and head towards the gate. And you can see the walls continue over the river. There's a large like portcullis that hangs over the river so that they can cut off access if they need to. And the wall carries on above that. And then continues all the way down. There is one gate on the other side of the river before it gets to the harbor area. And then to your left, you see the walls kind of turn away from you, so kind of fairly abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't seem to be, the guards don't seem to be too worried about people coming in and out.
No, I mean, there's varying degrees of attention being paid, I guess. Some of them are definitely being more attentive than others, I think it's fair to say. Okay. And it lasts a minute? I mean, I think it's a minute. So that would cover you as you kind of walk up and through. I'll double check.
I can't remember. I haven't used it in a while with my other character.
A long while.
Oh, no, it's a turn. Never mind. I gotcha. So Fey Fiend Undead, negative. These do not trigger any of those. Nor does anyone around you for that matter.
Or if something's been consecrated or desecrated.
Right. Yeah, none of that.
Okay.
I guess Eska's just gonna sort of wander on up and if they make eye contact, just give a friendly nod and go to walk through like this is every day.
And
okay,
before we get too close, like right after Niney had mentioned that it's a weave worm, Sylvaris will just briefly question, like,
and what is their purpose?
Oh, they detect if magic is happening. That's kind of their thing.
Good to know.
And he just looks back at everybody as they continue to walk.
And you can see this, and you can kind of see this up there. So, what's now revealed to you? So you come in through the gates. So I know there literally is like a cool check in some systems.
A cool check?
Yeah, cool check it's like test your nerve basically.
Oh.
Not if you like whip out your sunglasses. And...
Right. It's not. See how Fonzie you are. So what would we call this?
What will you test against fear?
Give me a
I could have swore that there was like an obvious. Have I just
thought
not
there
played in
was
so
too.
long?
I tell you what.
What does it go
Well,
against?
Wisdom?
Yeah, I mean it could. I
Or
will
can
say
you like wisdom or intelligence, like,
Or charisma.
or can you charisma your way
Yeah,
through
I was
it?
gonna say
maybe charisma.
a straight. I would say for each of you, you can make a wisdom, intelligence, or charisma check.
On like how you would approach it.
How you're playing it, yeah. And it's pretty low DC. The guards aren't paying that much attention to you, and you're not obviously casting magic, so.
14.
5 for Sylvarius.
Oh, 7 for Eska.
17 for Claire.
You even got a good modifier, Esk. Oh no!
I know.
No!
Oh no!
I got
Hey.
a 6. But that's
Was
with
it
the plus
charisma?
5.
Was it charisma save or check?
Oh, that's interesting.
That's important.
Yeah, that is important.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just clicked.
Yeah, it was intended as a check,
Okay.
which means we probably lose a little bit from Silveris and Cassette.
Yeah, so
Actually,
mine's
mine
at
does
3.
stay at 5.
So, Cassette, what are you wearing again?
She has.
Did you do the?
Yeah, the custom made kind of. I think she went with like pants.
Ooh. So, as you walk through, you're still like a little shook about the trader, and you unwittingly just smile way too much at the guards as you go through.
Oh dear.
And so everyone else, even Silveris, is able to walk through, and then there's a dwarf guard who's just sitting like he's got his chin propped on his battle axe and just watching as people come through, and then he looks at you and you're just like grinning at him like a fool, and he just slowly stands up and like puts his axe out in front of you. Just hold. Why are you smiling so much?
Well, and she's just gonna be honest. Like, we were coming into town, and honestly, one of the merchants back there kind of creeped me out a bit. So I was trying not to let it bother me, but I could see it came off as a little weird. I'm sorry.
Come over here a sec. We just need to check you real quick. Arms out.
Sure. She'll cooperate.
Is this just Cosette or?
Yep.
Okay.
What as you sort of others of you realize this is happening, what are you doing?
Ooh. This was unexpected in Silvarius's eyes.
I'm only assuming that Claire rolled so good because she's absorbed in conversation with Niney.
Quite possibly, yeah.
The rest
I'll
of
let
us,
you know, but-
the rest of us look on our phones and try and find appropriate gifts.
Yes.
I'm just checking. Bardor got like a 21. He's fine.
Ooh.
I think Eska's gonna, because I feel like Eska was towards the front, if not at the front. So she is gonna keep walking through, and then get beyond the gate, but then sort of, on hearing it, sort of bend down to kind of, you know, I don't know, fiddle with her shoes and whatnot to just wait to see what happens. But not but in a way that doesn't necessarily suggest that she's obviously with Cosette.
Gotcha. Is anybody loitering with Cosette?
Well, Smokey's kind of in the dark about everything, and so he's not being quite as willing to try to step in and get in trouble or help out at the moment. So he's just going to walk through and kind of like maybe loiter more towards Eska at the moment.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Cool.
This is our chance to get rid of Cosette.
I see.
Silvarius kind of like he slows his pace a little bit, and he's really just kind of like observing the body language of the guard for now.
He's taking an interest in Cosette here. But he's he's just sort of patting her down, and he like I'm trying to remember. You probably have like a couple of pouches and stuff on your person, I would think, too.
Yeah, I was looking to see if I had anything. Like, I have like a calligrapher's tools, and so like I don't even know that I would have those here, but probably if they were small. But like, I don't have anything. I don't have any. I have a healing potion.
Mhm.
I think that's the only thing that's
what-
like really combat related.
What's the calligrapher's tools? What does that look like? Is it just like a pouch, a little?
I don't have it pulled up. I think I would say it's like almost like a leather, like fold over. That kind of has like when you fold it over, it has slots where you can put like pens and a couple sheets of paper maybe, and maybe some ink vials that you can all kind of like roll up into a kind of like almost like a chef would carry knives, kind of like that type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I got you. So as he's kind of like patting around, he comes across the little coin purse. Doesn't have any concerns with that. Gets to the area where you keep your calligrapher's tools, and he kind of looks down and says, "Oh, looks like you must have snagged this on something." And he just like pulls at a loose thread, like the thing that you have your calligrapher's set looped through has been cut in some way, and there's no calligraphy set there. And he just kind of keeps patting you down, like just quickly checks your legs, but seems satisfied. Maybe just don't smile with the eye contact so much, eh?
Yeah,
Kind of unnerving.
agreed. And you could tell she's kind of like trying to think of what happened. Like she's worried about the tools, which is probably making her seem more normal and less creepy.
I think we lost you briefly there
Yeah.
because it said she's thinking of, and then there was nothing. And
Oh,
then she said,
sorry.
which is probably making her seem more normal.
Yeah, she's thinking of like what
It was
could
pretty-
have happened
pretty
to the
exquisitely
tools
timed.
and like how she didn't pick up on something like that, and then thinking of like the market, the lady at the market. So anyway, which thinking of that probably takes the smile off her face and makes her seem a little bit more normal.
Gotcha.
Had she up until that point, whilst he was doing the search, had she been doing the smile the entire time?
Maybe she toned it down a little bit, but yeah.
Okay.
So
Now she's like visibly like actively trying to frown to like avoid smiling.
Yeah.
It just comes off as a pout.
you have now cleared customs, and you are through on the other side of the wall. And so now to elaborate on what you see, the first thing is you're a little surprised because the area kind of funnels down into there's a couple of main streets leading out of the area where the this gate is, but from what you can tell, neither of them have a nice clear direct route through to, well, anything. There's you can see just as you go through the gate, you can see that there is some clearance between the buildings and the walls, so you can see all the way along to where the river is, and then there's a gap, and then you can see the other buildings on the other side. But there's no, like, you can see over the tops of the buildings, you can see the tops of the castle peeking out, but there's no like straight route there. And in fact, the main road that if you were to follow it, that's kind of directly in front of you, only goes on for like a few blocks, and then there's a very clear, like, it stops here and you have to turn in a different direction. It's a little confusing. The city is not very conveniently designed, apparently. But so 90 says, well, thank you for helping me get into the city. I'm gonna be probably looking either around here in Southwalk or over in near the Cloud Lodge. It's usually where I find the best, well, the people with most money. Not sure what happened to your friend back there, but hopefully everything's fine. Hope maybe I run into you again sometime.
Good luck with finding a patron.
Thank you, and thank you again for carrying the easel. It's not going to be too bad in here. I'll probably just set up somewhere close to where I know there's money and start painting something that's surprisingly effective. A little bit of street art goes a long way, it turns out. And she heads off down the road straight in front of you, and then where you see it, kind of like there's it kind of like stops at a building and then disappears off into different directions. She just heads off to the left, one of those directions, and she's disappearing out of view. Incidentally, you can also see over the tops of the buildings, in addition to the castle, there's sort of like ahead and right of you, more directly ahead, you can see the floating
Could
building.
could you put a dot kind of like where we are, and
Yes, sorry.
I'm just curious,
absolutely
like,
can.
as our location on the
It's
map.
alright. Oh, that didn't do a dot. That did like a tiny little line. Let me try that again. Let me do a little circle. Let me do a little Hand of Ages. Oh, that's too big.
I figured
we'll
that,
do
like,
the little.
any of the...
We'll do the little circle instead. So you are presently here.
Okay. No, I imagined we were further along for whatever reason.
What's the vibe of the city?
Yeah.
Is it sort of bustling? Is it sort of dingy? Is it, those kind of things?
it is. It's pretty bustly. It is probably at this point sort of like still kind of early to mid-morning. So businesses are just sort of getting up and going. You actually notice that the area you're in seems to be mostly residential and seems to be quite nice residential. You got the impression based on what was just said that this might be South Walk, which is confusing because you definitely just came in from the North Gate. But a lot of the buildings are, well, all of the buildings around you are stone. At least on the bottom floor, you see some that have like wooden upper floors. Many of them are 2 or 3 stories. And you can tell like the roofs are maintained. The streets in this area look pretty nice. There's not a lot of slop everywhere. And as you're just sort of like taking this in, you do see a patrol of 2 guards and another weaveworm walking. They like that route kind of directly, and I know it's confusing because the map is upside down essentially, but so south is up on the map to you guys. And so that
thanks for
road,
making that easy.
Yep. So the to the south of you, where that kind of intersection is, you see a patrol kind of walk through that intersection and off from your left to right. So clearly the patrols are kind of patrolling, as patrols tend to do, in a patrol-y kind of way. So yeah, that's kind of what you're seeing right now. Definitely in a nicer area.
Can we still see the floating building?
You can, yes. It is indeed still floating.
That's not by chance a little like funky rectangle looking, or like this thing, that building, is it?
No, it's the little dot further up. There's like a little area that's...
Or the one further up?
Yes, that is where it is.
That's a good ways away.
Yes.
Okay.
And
but, it stands out on account of the fact that it's a floating building.
does the area, if we look across the river, the area that looks like it probably turns into docks, does that sort of have a similar kind of look?
It looks a little bit more functional. There's some, like, there are still some of the taller buildings, but it looks like it's less dense over there, like less high as well. It's tricky. Like you'd have a better view from like the riverbank. There are some buildings kind of blocking the view a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't look like you have the same degree of like height and pomp and circumstance.
Is there any impression of which direction we should head? Do we sort of, like if we look around, does anything look more like it might be leading in a shoppy direction or a, you know?
Not really. Like I said, there doesn't seem to be a lot of shops right where you're at.
This is, you said this
Feels
was more
like-
residential, right?
Feels more residential. I mean, there are people in the streets you could always ask.
Yeah, I guess I'll grab somebody that looks friendly. And just nod to them and say, good morning. We're new here. Where to head for, you know, to stalls and shops, a market, perhaps.
Oh. And they sort of seem distinctly unimpressed that you've stopped them. It's a rather snooty looking male human wearing fine looking suit type deal. Well, if you head down, shift over a little and head down Scimitar Way, there's not a lot of shops in South Walk, but you can go a little way down. There's an area where several roads meet. That is the Bitcoin Pentagon. And you could probably find whatever you're looking for there.
She will give him a little sort of half bow and say, thank you, sir.
Yes. And he walks off without really paying too much attention to your thanks.
Should we head there first?
You want to head to the shops when there is a castle? I thought you wanted to see the sights.
I mean, yes, a bit of both. Do you think we should just have a wander around?
I don't know what we are
Ha-
doing, but whatever. I am just here for the ride.
Good. How long does it look like it would take to walk to the castle?
Probably sort of. Well, it's tricky. If there's a road that goes straight there, maybe 15, 20 minutes.
So probably with zigzagging a bit longer, but not crazy.
Yeah, not crazy.
Do we also need to kind of like put a mental mark on where we're supposed to meet later?
Oh yeah,
The
look
green.
for the Great Green.
Great green. If that's what we heard, if that was what was actually said.
Green was at least in there somewhere.
Just go up to random people and be like, great green? Great green? Great green? Oh yeah.
We could go for a wander for a little bit first, and then if time allows, we could head to the merchants. I suppose a lay of the land would not be a bad idea. What do you think?
Well, we're going to have to go by the shops anyway if we're planning on having a picnic later.
I wasn't 100% saying picnic.
Wait,
I
we are
don't
having
know.
a
I
picnic?
heard somebody say picnic.
Bardo
Don't
points out
remember
that he's
these
going to need more
words.
pipeweed.
I did not agree to that.
I distinctly heard them say that we would meet around lunchtime, and I heard somebody say the word picnic. She pulls out already like a list she had made at breakfast with like bread, grapes,
Food sounds
full on
great.
shopping list.
I mean, we could surprise them with a picnic. They probably would not object.
I can be on board with this plan.
So which way are you heading?
Straight forwards?
General direction of the floaty?
Yeah, I guess sort of
Main roads?
Main roads, and then as we hit junctions, see if any directions look particularly exciting.
Okay. So if you head south, you get to this junction right here. This is where you saw the
They don't have
the
like
patrol go.
a visitor
through
center or
early.
something with like pamphlets or anything of like.
You see nothing of the sort. Now, admittedly, if you had gone through the docks, maybe there would have been such a facility available.
Yeah, we didn't come in through the tourist
Yeah.
entrance.
No, you did not. You do see that there is a every now and then there's a sign indicating that the road you've been walking on is Northgate Street. Makes a lot of sense since you went through the North Gate. So as you get to this point, you see there's a signpost indicating that to your left, which of course is east, that road is labeled as the Way of the Angels, and it leads towards the Gate of Stars.
Fancy.
There's the road that kind of goes sort of up and left, which would be sort of south. Well, it's kind of east-southeast from where you're at. You don't actually see the name of it, but there's just a sign that says to Corpse Street, as in the direction of Corpse Street, not number 2 Corpse Street. And then in a southwesterly direction, there is a sign that says to Brightcoin Pentagon.
I was
So,
just calculating southwest. My bad.
Let's just look for regular northeast, and that's southwest. Everything is topsy-turvy.
Is the map upside down and also flipped? Just for, added difficulty.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's just upside down. Well, I guess maybe it's rotated.
Oh.
Would that be accurate?
I'm just as a player, just curious. Does the DM have the ability to like have, handed this map to us right side up?
It's an interesting question. Let me
Absolutely not.
check this for a
I was gonna
second.
say, is rotate image an option?
That's just like it's on Paint program.
Have you guys not just considered turning your monitors upside down?
I did, but my keyboard is attached to my monitor.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay.
Everything's
Can you?
moving.
I mean,
Oh my word!
I guess. Oh wow. I was gonna say one thing. I guess you could put.
So did that flip everything for you?
did a
in a
thing.
horrible
no,
way?
in a horrible way. Yes.
We,
When you said Drakesburg Rising, I didn't think you'd actually flip the city around.
I would say we're now on the opposite end of the city.
And then like the revealed map, it did mess up the reveal. We have a
Yeah.
Don't look,
different.
Yeah,
everybody.
you're seeing all sorts of weird things. Hold on, because there's. I've got 2 versions here. I need to. You can't see the other one. Makes it extra confusing. I don't really need the other one here now, though. I don't think. I'm going to delete that, and I think it's going to be fine. We'll see.
They'll still be in your
Okay.
assets.
Yes. Okay. And then, you know what? How do I... There we go. All right. So, you are... This is going to be... Oh, that got weird.
You intended on the map being fully revealed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, we're going to delete all of these guys down here. We're going to delete my compass that flipped the other way. So, for reference point, we've got you came in like up here-ish, and then crossed over sort of here-ish, and then you are currently at the north gate here. Well, you were,
Yeah.
and then you've since moved down to here.
This is going to take some getting used to.
Gotta reorient, but I feel it's for the better.
We'll see.
So yes, you can. Now it's going to really confuse me because my other map is now the other way. It's fine. I'll manage. So the Gate of Stars is to your... As you walk down, it's still to your left. But on the map, it is east is the Gate of Stars, and then the bright coin pentagon is southwest. The path isn't very clear. If I move that guy out the way, it's just a smidgen here. You can actually see it better. There is a path that goes through there.
I guess we'll probably head that way unless anybody objects.
To the middle of town, or
So,
to Corpse Street?
Yeah, basically to the middle of town, I
Yeah,
guess.
that would be my vote, away from Corpse Street.
Yeah, I probably don't.
Yeah.
I hear that part of town's pretty dead.
Alrighty. So, as you cut across towards the apparently bright coin pentagon, you do hear the sort of general hubbub picking up, and as you emerge from your sort of little narrow street that comes through the buildings there, it makes way onto a large five-way crossroad, and there are a number of vendors set up with they are set up with carts, but to use the same word, cart, to describe these and the one that you encountered on the riverbank earlier is confusing because they have almost nothing in common. These are, except that they're wooden construction and they have wheels. These have 4 wheels. They are sturdy, substantial, tall. They have sort of nice, almost velvety curtains that sort of pull to the sides to reveal the items inside. The vendors are all well dressed, and you can see that there's a lot of tailors and jewelers. There's a wine cellar here. That's Seller, not Cell. That would be confusing. There's a lot of sort of aristocratic things for sale, almost what it feels like. But there's a lot of traffic in here. A lot of people trying to shift a lot of goods. You can also now smell the you're closer again to the water, so you can smell the salt in the air has picked up a little as you get closer. You do also see a signpost here, and the route that's sort of most close to south says Scimitar Street, and then underneath it says to the Great Green. And then there's a road pointing northwest that says to the river and light docks. And then Scimitar Street continues north, away back, sort of the way you came, but vaguely parallel to the way you came. And then there's another street that just says to Corp Street on it. They're sort of heading, again, it's sort of the east-southeast direction. There was a lot going on there, but that's what you're seeing right now.
Well, we know how to get back to Great Green. At least there's that. Seems like it would be easy to find. So what do we want to do first? Sightsee or shop?
So eager for sightseeing. Now nobody wants to do anything.
Oh, you've gone quiet.
Smokey's just walked off and left us.
Yeah. So angry with us that can't even.
Can you hear me
I was
now?
about to
Is it still
Yeah.
quiet?
Yes.
No, it's good.
Okay. He said, oh, sorry.
No,
Oh,
go ahead.
Did you guys hear me or was I too far away?
No,
Too far away.
too far away.
Okay. He said, so eager for sightseeing. Now nobody knows what to do.
Normally I'd be all for shopping, but the last shopping experience freaked her out a little bit. So if we're voting, that's going with sightseeing.
The virus is the same.
Wait, Savaris is saying what?
Yeah.
Oh, he is the same.
Oh,
Oh, the same.
I heard it too. I just thought it was, again, it's you never know. Is it a pause or is it?
Eli just articulates poorly.
Claire's also the same, but you can kind of see in her heart of hearts, she's staring at that wine booth with hearts in her eyes. So she'll go with the majority, but she's making a mental note of where that wine cellar is.
It sounds like sightseeing time.
In our studying for Drakesburg, did we catch the open container rules? Can we get a walker?
It seems theoretically possible.
Is there anybody else carrying?
No, right now. It's, it's like 10 in the morning.
Oh no, she's plotting for picnic later. This is part of her picnic menu. You have to get the appropriate wine to go with a riverside picnic.
On that note, what time does it feel like?
Well, right now?
Yeah.
It's like 10-ish. Give or take.
Okay, yeah.
Mid-morning.
Mid-morning.
So, do you head towards the river? Apparently not towards Corp Street. Or towards Great Green?
And everything still looks residential with the exception of like the wine cellar and
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing... This area seems to be very much nice big houses. With the exception of the Pentagon itself. Anyone got a preference?
Don't want to walk on a dead street.
I figured we'd probably kind of loop. We've probably got time to kind of do a bit of a loop around the city. I mean, not necessarily around the outside, but I suppose start the opposite way from Corp Street.
Okay. So, really then it's just river or into the center.
If we head to the river, can we sort of loop up behind the castle?
Maybe.
Let's try that then, because we've got to scope out the river to see if it's worth sitting by for a picnic.
Alrighty. So you head down. And you come out on the bank of the river. You do see now here you have an interesting view. To your left, you see there is just one bridge that crosses over between the area you're on and this other, what seems to be a lot more of a working area, less residential. You see a lot of what look like warehouses, storage facilities, that sort of thing. There's a few like thick black chimney smoke thingies coming up that suggest there could be some sort of like industrial process forge or something along those lines. They're out that way. Beyond the bridge, you see there's another green area that seems to be free of buildings, but there's trees and a lot of just grass. Actually, it looks quite nice. That sort of appears to be the tip of whatever this area is. And then if you look back towards the wall to the north, you do see, while most of the buildings look residential, there does appear to be at least one building that has a business sign hanging in front of it. But you need to head back up that way to see what it is. But it's the first shop that you've seen since you arrived in the city itself.
Head that way?
Sounds
Here's the
good.
first shop sign.
Sure.
All right.
As we get a little closer to this, do we see what that walled structure is in the middle? Like, is that raised up or is that the height of the buildings?
What the
Like, it looks like there's a gated big building in the middle, just from the map. Do we see any of that? Like, is that raised up? Is the wall super high that it's like above? Yeah.
Oh, there. That's the castle.
Okay. So we could probably
That
see
was mentioned.
Yeah. Okay.
You unless you get, like, from most angles that you've been, if you look in that direction, you can at least see some of it because it does tower pretty high. Occasionally, the view gets blocked because of the way the buildings are, but especially like some of the the sort of the 3-story buildings are pretty good at blocking off the view, but the 1 and 2 stories don't do as good a job of blocking it. So in most places you can see it if you're looking for it. And from where you're at right now, you cannot see the floating building anymore. But so as you approach the sign, you see there is a the sign has a sword crossed with a maul, and above that it just says Mara's Blades.
Uh-oh.
And you would assume from that is some sort of weaponsmith.
Well, no point coming down this way. Should we carry on?
Yes.
Apparently we're turning back south.
We can
I was
maybe just peek
was it-
inside. They have one of those chalkboard menus on the outside just to kind of see maybe like what their specials are. Something.
No.
We have to go in.
Yeah, you have to go.
Go on then. I know you guys can't help yourself.
So as you go in, push the wooden door open, and there's a little jingle of a bell as you go inside. And it looks unlike any of the shops you've been to in Delzimer. The walls, the floor, everything's like immaculate condition. It all looks really nice. It's like a large like stone slab floor. And on the walls there are just countless weapons, very carefully organized so that the swords are sort of displayed like in length order. So you've got like full great swords and bastard swords, and then one-handers all the way down to daggers in a nice on one wall. It just goes from like the largest all the way down to smallest. And then opposite that, there's a vast selection of different types of pole arms. There's pikes and halberds and you name it. If it's a stick with something sharp on the end, it's there. And there is sitting behind a rather impressive dark wood counter is an elf. Hard to tell exactly what sort of elf. There's weird lighting in near the actual counter there, but the elf kind of looks up and smiles and says, "Welcome, friends. Welcome to Mara's Blades. What can I help you with?"
So, whilst we were out in town, because this place is loaded with weaponry, as far as any weapon, like this, the population that we encountered, was it mostly just the guards that were equipped, or was there any other signs of like well-equipped civilians?
Give me a retroactive perception check.
Oh, 16.
You see that a lot of civilians have some form of defense.
Okay.
It's not like especially the ones who are better dressed look like they have some sort of... At this point, you would already guess some sort of, like, family blade that has been passed down from generation to generation. The sword has a name. It's, you know, it's that kind of deal. Now, how well trained they are, how sharp the blades are maintained, all of that is very difficult to know, but it does seem to be not unusual for people to be walking the streets with one or more weapon visible.
Okay.
I would say you don't really see any like ranged weapons particularly. It's, you know, everything's sort of like, and it's all been something that you can sheath with it looking less menacing. So it's not like people are just walking down the street with, you know, like a glaive at their side or something like that. It's a bit more practical and also kind of fashion forward.
A fashion sword or fashion mace.
Exactly.
Do these look to be like upgrades to... They seem to be like on the level of a standard item, just nice quality, or do they seem to be upgrades from...
Quick eyeball, you would say that these are all very attractive weapons. But just looking at the blades, you would say not necessarily any more effective than what you're wielding right now. At least what's immediately available for display. You don't see anything that looks sort of... Nothing about it screams, oh, this is high class. What you see is, this is expensive. And I would say, from your background, you've seen a lot of these types of weapons where it's absolutely fashion is put ahead of function.
Yeah, okay.
The bits that people will see, the handles, the pommels, all of those, very ornate. There's a lot of inlaid gems, a lot of very fine metal work, crafting these beautiful, exquisite grips. But ultimately, the blade itself looks like any other longsword, you know?
And just to clarify, because I can't remember, weapons that are like a +1 sword or something are +1, like that is a magical piece to it. It's not just like it's a better made sword, right? For the most part.
Like mastercraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's been enchanted. Some sort of magic is what gives it additional.
Typically, yes. Okay. There probably are situations where you could find a smith who was capable of just, you know, making something that is functionally better because they're just so good at their art. But generally speaking, it has some sort of magical element to that's created the, you know, like I think typically my DMG is buried somewhere, but I'm pretty sure that like a +1 is an enchanted blade of some sort as a rule.
Okay, that's what I thought I remembered. So it would be unlikely to find any of that here if it's magic based, most likely anyway.
I mean, you don't know. You don't always necessarily recognize a magical weapon anyway. And
oh, that's a good point. It's not like it's like glowing purple or something.
Right.
Not
I mean,
always, anyway.
some do.
Yeah. I mean, Silverius, calm down.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, I mean, for instance, the sword that Silverius has doesn't until he says something. It just looks like a really cool sword. Then he says something and it turns on fire. But you know, its default state is cool looking sword.
Does anybody look like they're gonna genuinely like buy something or look at something? Yeah, I think if
Claire
Atticus-
saw how fancy the store was and noped out immediately because she's too scared to break something. After every store she's been in, she's knocked something over. So
then I think Cassette would do like the like nice, like, you know, you walk in somewhere and you know you're not going to buy anything immediately, but you still look at stuff and you say, oh, this is beautiful, and you know, just kind of like does the polite kind of browse, and then kind of says thank you and kind of goes to leave unless anybody has any reason to stay longer. And she probably doesn't admit it, but she really does think that she would like some of these, even though she realizes the expense is not practical at all, but she does like them.
Right.
Yeah, and obviously there's no prices listed anywhere.
Oh, that's how you know they're really expensive.
So does anyone actually talk to the elf?
Yeah, briefly. I mean, Savaris would he would approach upon the elf directly. Can't think of words. Talking to them.
Yeah,
But-
I think because that would also just kind of like chit chat, small talk, like, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, well, you know, I like the leather, you know, kind of like that type of stuff. Like as she's browsing.
And he doesn't leave his seat behind the counter there, but he is very quick to offer up details about you know, for almost every piece that you kind of point out, he can name the smith who made it, the particular art style that was used, the essence that the smith was trying to evoke when they made the piece. If there are jewels, he can tell you exactly the size and count of all of the jewels. And it's always very sort of like, he has like almost a cat-like quality to him. Like, he's warm and friendly, and he's has a smile to him. Like, I guess like a happy cat, not an angry cat. And not like a predatory cat. He's just like, yeah, so that piece was done by the late Ranulph. I believe he was actually harkening back to an earlier piece that he created century prior, and which is why you can see there's that relief there, and just, you know, I think you would quickly realize that if you keep touching things, he's going to keep telling you things, or even just looking at things. You don't even have to touch it. If he can tell where your eyesight is looking, he's going to start just lore dumping.
These seem to be the weapons people buy to talk about and not use.
Certainly he likes talking about them.
Yeah. She does not like people who brag a lot, so she will not be rude, but she's like just staying long enough for it to not be rude, and then she's gonna kind of make her way to the door, maybe with like a, you know, well, as you can see, we're no fighters, so I don't believe that that I need anything in here, but thank you for all your help.
Make a deception check. Because you definitely have like a 12-foot tall dragonborn in your party.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think it through. A little flustered today. Okay, 15 total.
It says, well, anytime you're in the market for one of these exquisite pieces, let me know. Maybe we can find something. If this isn't quite your taste, I'm sure I can track something down that'll do for you. And it just gives you another warm smile as you head out.
Yeah, we're done with that guy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I presume at this point you head back south along the river. Towards the bridge.
Smokey's not going to object to walking along the river.
It's a nice river.
A happy pep in his step kind of walk.
Even the river is pleasant. It's, it seems to be clear of any sort of detritus or anything like that. Seems quite pleasant over there.
So, because that's definitely not an expert on any of this, but just with a regular person's knowledge, she's kind of looking around as we go through just different areas, kind of more passively than anything, but like, does it look like this construction and this has been around for a long time? Are the stones worn during, in the walking paths? Is the, just does it look like this place has been lived in for a very long time, or for, just kind of as we make our way around?
Yeah. Give me history with advantage. Bardor's going to assist with his
Oh, cool.
masonry abilities.
Stone cutting?
Yes, that's the
Oh,
one.
nice. A 15 plus 5, 20.
Okay. Weirdly, yes. The stones look weathered, but tastefully weathered. You can see as you walk down the paved streets, you can see areas where the carts have started to dig grooves into the stone. And where the foot traffic tends to follow, sort of like in between where the wheels run. There's some, like on the bridge especially, there's some very tasteful looking like algae that's growing up at the base where it meets the water. Yeah, it's weird because it doesn't really make sense. But as far as you can tell, yes, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
And you see actually the bridge, the way the stones are carved on the bridge, it gives you a brief flashback to I guess it's not that long ago. Let's see, how long ago was this? About 10 days ago. When you were deep underground, a large blue creature spat lightning at you. And you see these scales carved into the stone. The like the whole stone face that's like looking, facing out away from the just the stone face. That's all I really need to say of the bridge. Is carved to look like large scales that are very reminiscent of a dragon.
Or maybe a drake.
Indeed. Perhaps. Do you cross the bridge, or are you heading more towards the castle in the harbor?
So, yeah, I'm thinking we should head towards the castle in the harbor. And really, the floating building is a point of interest for Silvarius.
Alrighty, and as you continue to walk down the bank, the castle just keeps kind of like looming and getting taller and taller as you realize as you get closer. So the exterior walls are about the same height as the city walls, and then inside those walls there is a series of towers and turrets and buttresses that just keep going up and up and up, and it very much looms over the city, looking down in every direction. And so as you get like right here towards the base, first thing you notice, there are a lot of Drakeswarden guards in this area. And previously you'd seen patrol with like 2 of the guards, with or without the weaveworm. Here you see like multiple clusters of like half a dozen guards, each with a minimum of 1, sometimes 2 of these large weaveworms. And they're all, like, so far, all you've seen the lizards do is just kind of like look around lazily, stick their tongue out occasionally. But yeah, you see, to the west, you see the river emptying out into the harbor. You see ships coming in, and you can I think only 1 or 2 of you have traveled by ship, but some of you will have at least been to other port cities and seen different cultures create their ships in different designs. And just looking through the harbors, you see a lot of different types of ship coming in. These are clearly coming from everywhere. There's a big variety. You can see the nice green open space just north of you across the river, and then to your south, looming, is the great castle that apparently you don't know the name of. I don't believe anyone's told you yet. And just peeking out, you can kind of make out a hint every now and then of the hovering building. It's still quite a ways back into the city, but you do see every now and then you see this building just hovering up there. Clearly no visible connection between it and the ground. And that's where we'll call it for the night. As you stand at the base of Castle, I don't know,